continue recording of the session, and we will start with folder structures, and then we'll go to how to create and where to create the document. We'll talk on environment and attributes, on workflows, roles, and how to print a PDF, and a few other project-wise configuration things. The session is focused primarily on users and not on how to administer the system. As mentioned before, if you have any question, just write it in the chat box. I can see it on my left screen, so we can discuss it. And if you need to clarify anything on the topic that we are talking, or something is not clear, yes, also please write a message and I can clarify it. Right, I hope you know the interface of ProjectWise Explorer. This is the main interface, and we will be using this. The data source, the production data source is tems-pw.bentley.com, tems-pw. So this one, not the training one. Once you connect, you will see folder structures, and DMS system and system admin will be required for administrators, and we will not touch them. Application data folder structure is for supportive documentation and all the setting files. And the actual files and documents will be stored under these 4 folders, and later on you could add additional 2 folders. I believe those are referred as quadriles, and under each and any of those you would create your project based on which quadrile the project should happen. The second layer under the quadrile is the location, and location or code and description should be under the folder. One thing is important to note, that location name can be any name. However, location description should be a code, so that would mean one code with 8 digits or 8 characters, no more additional dashes or explanations or anything, because this code will be used in document name while creating. Under each of the full location, a project can be created and should be created. So if you would need another location, or a project is under another location, you should have another location folder under which you would create the new project. The project so under location we have a project structure. A project itself has a icon with 4 little arrows, so you can see the difference between a regular folder and a project. And the same goes with the project description. So the project name can be any name, any understandable name, or how would you like to describe it. However, the project description should be strict and should hold a project code or project number. Right. Under each of the project, you will have a folder structure. We have defined a standard project structure with standard disciplines. However, based on the project, you can add or remove additional disciplines, and that should be done by project administrators. You may see some underscored folders. These will be the same on each and every a project, and these are the disciplines. And architect discipline. Each and every discipline will have the same subset of subfolders. And the subfolders basically divide the documents by document type. So you can see here 2D drawing, 2D model, composite model, federated model, just a 3D model, on-demand PDFs, raw data, and so on. And each and every discipline has the same approach, with few of the restrictions or exceptions. I would say the supplier. So the supplier folder should hold all the incoming data from particular supplier. So the supplier could be called by the name, not by the actual discipline. However, if there will be few suppliers, if there will be the same supplier operating within 2 disciplines, then it should have 2 different folders. So supplier mechanical, for instance, and supplier environmental or geotechnical. Right? Under each discipline, there's a particular folder for on-demand PDF renditions. So on-demand PDF renditions would go in this folder automatically, and on schedule PDF renditions would go under project PDF renditions. We'll come back to this a bit later while we will talk about PDFs. This is a general project folder structure. Additional things you can see under application data as mentioned before. So for instance, some seed files or template files or user guides, workspaces, and so on. For the ones that you have tested the system, you know that you can create additional folders here to store data source-wide setup files or required files like user guides and so on. Any questions so far regarding folder structure?
The only comment I've got, Martinez, is it's the project WISE administrators that would be setting up the projects for users. Just so they understand, they're not going to be asked to create them, it's the administrators that do it.
Yes, yes, that's correct. A project administrators, yes.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Right. Sorry. All right. Then the next thing that I have on top is how and where to create a document and how the document name is generated. So, based on where you will start creating a document, the document name can be suggested. You can see where the document name will be suggested based on a environment. So you see that 2D drawing has drawings environment, 2D model and visualization. So the name, the unique name will be generated for 2D drawing folder, 2D model folder, 3D model, then 3D composite model and schedules. For any other folder, the document name will not be generated, and it will be used the same as the users will have or for original file, or they can modify it. All right, creating a document, we will try to create a document, for instance, civil engineer, here somewhere. I can take a seed file and just drag and drop it here to the drawing, and we should use an advanced wizard. It asks for the target, so the same folder, same document, and here you can see that the system automatically caught on where we have added the document. So under project 1, so it automatically filled in project number from the description. The company ID is filled in based on my username. So as I have a user from Bentley Systems, it automatically added the BE code. If you know that, well, if you see that this is wrong, you should contact your project-wise administrator to rectify the issue. If you want to create a document on behalf of some other company and you would like to use other company ID, you can select it from the pick list. The pick list can be modified by project-wise administrators. Then you can see location and sites automatically picked up from the folder structure. A process and asset you should select from the pick list, so the one that you require. Let's choose any of those. And the type and the role is added automatically based on where the document is created. So you can see the type is DR, so that would mean 2D drawing, and the role C is civil. And then we can press generate, and it will generate the next available serial number, and the combination of all of those attributes makes a document number and document name unique within the environment in the same data source. So we can continue with next, next, and next, and next. So, and the document is created. Right. Yes. This one, the latest one. As you can see, it is SWDRC. So to the drawings has a description DR, so you see it goes to the document name, and civil engineer folder has description C, it also goes into the document name. If I were to make the same thing, for instance, for geotechnical, which has G here, and 2D model, again, need to select Advanced Wizard. It asks whether the correct folder is selected, whether we have used the correct seed. Then the same project, same company ID because I used the same username, the same location size. This one we have to select. However, the type, because it's 2D model, changed to 2D to M2, and role geotechnical is G. You see there is no button for generating a serial number, and that is the major difference between model and drawing environments. For drawing environments, the serial code would be generated automatically by pressing a button. For model environment, you have 64 characters to add free text. A model description. Again, we continue creating. Let's see if the document is created. For any other folders, you can create a document by dragging and dropping, and it will not suggest you any document creation wizard. You see, just asks for the name. I can rename, and document is created. Alright. For resources, and those resources are project specific, and the resources would be created for you by project administrators. Any questions so far? Notes, comments? Alright. Let's continue then on drawing attributes, drawing our model. So the same environment, you see, which generates document code, and they also contain some additional attributes. So each and every document inside here will have the set of attributes, and the attributes can be visible here under attributes or more attributes labels. And some of them are predefined, some of them are selectable from the pick list, some of them will be filled in automatically based on a workflow state change. Alright, so this is the one that was created a few seconds ago by me. And right, attributes. You see, some of the attributes have been filled in automatically. So the document code name attributes, automatically the description comes from the same folders. So you see civil, it took a code and civil engineer the folder name as a description, DR to the drawing, this one, location and site, this one, project and project description, see the same project, and it's all added and generated to a document code. Right. Additional thing that is already added is project group, which is the quadrile. So you see WI, which is water infrastructure. Let's talk about other attributes. So the authorized by, and this is date, they are filled in automatically by the system. So you don't have to add, and you cannot add them. Revision version is also controlled by the system, so you don't have to add it. Title, it is a free text and it is a mandatory attribute, so you should add it before you continue. And you can identify the mandatory attributes. They have an asterisk, and if you would mark on the edit field here, you would see that it is a mandatory field. So for instance, the process, you see it's not a mandatory field, however, suitability, it is a mandatory field. Same goes for scale and sheet. The interface for this environment, drawings, and for model environments, it should be really similar, but for models, some of the attributes are filled in already, for instance, scale and sheet size, as they are not required for a model. For instance, see the model that we have created. See the scale is 1:1, It is a mandatory field, however, we cannot modify because it is not relevant to model. And you see other things filled in accordingly to a folder structure. So in essence, you just create the document where you'll see fit based on folder structure, and the document name will be suggested to you. Right. I'll add some title, scale, sheet size. By the way, the automated PDF generation also refers to this attribute, and it will stick the drawing based on this attribute to that size sheet. So if you selected here A1, it will maximize the drawing to A1 size and then print it on A1 size PDF. Suitability code is mandatory, and this one changes based on the state of the document. So sometimes it disappears, you have to select new one, and the selection is also based on the state. The name here is automatically filled in by the code. Location size. You have a pick list, and the pick list is configured by project-wise administrators. Subprocess, again, you have some subprocesses, and it is configured by the pick list by project administrators, and security reference, same. All right. More attributes. There's a reference status attribute, which means that if this document were to be a reference, it is not approved, and the master document will not be approved until this document is approved. So the system checks that automatically. This is just for your reference. And revision information, it is a mandatory field. It holds 8 lines. Only the first line is mandatory, and users will not be able to progress unless this one is filled in, this particular line. All right, these are the attributes. We were talking in the interface of document attributes. The system, we have 2 interfaces, the interface for document attributes and for revision attributes. Basically, it says what it is. Revision attributes holds the revision history attributes. Each time you create a new major version, the revision history attributes will be populated up and up. And of course, all the relevant attributes are mapped to your drawing title block and pushed to the drawing title block. Right. So these are the attributes of a drawing, and as mentioned for the model, they are the same, except that the serial number does not exist, and you have model description as a free text during creation, and scales and sizes are not available or one-to-one and are not changeable. Everything else, it is the same as for the drawings. Right. And if we were to go to project and then project properties, we see 2 project properties, subprocess and location town. So you could have identified that subprocess and location town. So this field and this field, they are inherited from the project descriptions and for the project properties. However, the users can override them, as you see here. But originally it comes from project. So I could properties change it to process 99, and then I could create a 2D model from a text. Let's use it just as a placeholder creation. You see, so process 99 is inherited from the project. All right, any questions, notes from document creation approach?
Hello, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
Hello, sorry. I just wanted to check the context of this presentation. In my experience, is this something that engineers will be doing, or is this something more on the CAD or the project-wise administration setup that you're talking about at the moment?
This is an overall session from A to Z, with from user's perspective. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. All right. So now the next topic that I think that we need to cover is overall workflows. How do they work, and what needs to happen on each and every workflow state. Right. Each and every document created in ProjectWise here does have a workflow and a workflow state based on the folders. I would assume that you are familiar with workflow states. Right, so the revision version, state, and the document name. So looking to the graph on the right side, every new document is created in work in progress state, and work in progress state and content and all of these states under this line, they are visible only within your own discipline. So that would mean that all of the architectural personnel can see the attributes and can see the documents. However, for people from different disciplines will not be able to see documents from other disciplines until the document has reached shared state. All right, let's go together on this document. So we have created the document, have not changed anything. It is in work in progress, and the major revision version is P101. That would imply that this is a version 1 in revision P01, and an approver checker, see everything is clear. However, when we go and need to progress to content checking, then we will right-click, change, and approve. So the state changes is right-click on a document or multiple documents, go to change, and you have for drawings 3 options. For models, you also have 3 options. Approve, revise, and early publish. You see approve is blue arrow, revise is orange arrow, and early publishing is green arrow. All the work, the designing and engineering, and should happen in work in progress state. All other states will have no write access right. So if you need to change anything, you have to go to work in progress state. Assumingly that we have created a good DGN document and we need to progress with it to move to approvals, then as a designer I would change state and approve document model for checking. That would mean that I have finished my work. And on this state, it actually checks whether all the mandatory fields are filled in. All right. You see, it is autoed by me. The date automatically filled in. Suitability code is cleared. Suitability descriptions also. And we are in content check state. So the document is locked for everyone. And the checking should be happening at the moment. And once the document is checked, then the checker goes right in and either approves it or rejects it. If the document is rejected or revised, then it will be pushed back to work in progress state. We're going this. You see revision number increased, revision version, so it's still revision PO1, but version 2, because you need to rework. And we are in this work in progress, assuming that everything is fine and we have changed and fixed all the issues. We again go to approve for checking. Right, stability code is changed. Then we have a stability code. You see, instead of S0, it became from S2 to S7. And you just select the one that is appropriate to you, manufacturer approval. Then you have to save it. And then again, right click, change state, approve. And the document is a question approved for sharing. So once the document, the content is checked, it goes to approve for sharing, and it is a short state. So either the approver needs to approve it, and that will be shared amongst other disciplines, or the approver can reject the document if they feel that that's not fit for sharing, or the approver can early publish the document to actually share it with other disciplines without approving it. We'll initially go through the optimal, I would say, approach, optimal route, where everything is approved. Later on, we will try to go through publishing, early publishing states. Right. So, alright, click state change and approve. Once approvers basically question is whether to share the document or not within the project team. Alright, so the document now is shared and is available to all of the disciplines within the same project. And as you may see, the minor revision has disappeared, so it became an approved version, an approved revision, or a shared revision. No minor, only major. Shared, so the document has passed work in progress, content check, approved, and shared. And you see the yellow one, this is archival version of it, and you see superseded. At this point, before leaving approve for sharing and entering shared, we are making a physical copy and just naming it superseded WIP. So you do have an archival version of that particular document and you can progress further. But we will progress further than this. As you know, for the older project-wise versions, you cannot modify or do anything. Thus, you see the open book. Right. If now you feel that the document is ready to be published, then you have to firstly initiate the publishing by approving, or by pressing approving, basically is moving forward. And the authorized for publication, basically it is a question and it should be answered either yes, it is fit for publication and the document will be published, or it is not fit and the document will be revised and put back to work in progress. So yes, indeed, let's assume that we can publish and just, alright, I will try doing that without choosing suitability code. And you see that the system gave an error that suitability code, which is R_S code 1, is not filled in. Condition check failed and will not allow us to move from here to here until the condition check is met. So that goes also for title, it will go also for scale and sheet sizes. So we select partially signed off and then change state approve. So the document is approved and published now, and as you may see, the revision string has changed from P01 to C01. You do not need to modify or add your initials manually, as the system will do that for you. You do not need to add anything other than mandatory fields, as the system will try to automate it as much as possible. Right, and if you do need to continue on your work and start a new revision, of course, the only available option from this state is to revise, orange arrow, as for instance pressing approve will just give you an error message or a notification message that the document is approved already and no more approval is required or available. Change state to WISE, design state and create new version, yes. The document goes from published documentation to superseded published and straight into work in progress. So the yellow one just creates a version and is a historical archival document. You can refer it back. See published. So this is the C01. From published documentation, it pushes to superseded published and creates work in progress, which is unlocked, and you can start working again, and the cycle starts one more. You see, you can track who has created this version, and the reason here, all of the other fields are cleared out automatically. And revision information is also cleared in, because each and every revision should be filled in with its information, as this is a new revision, so new information is required. However, other things like title, scale, and sheet sizes that lives along with the document, they are not cleared out. Let's do one more, but we'll go through early publishing route. Right, so document is finished to the best of our knowledge, and we'll try to approve it, send it for content checking, in other words. So it captures my initials. Content checking is happening at the moment. Once it is successful, and then doesn't. Right, and then we'll go to proof for. Approve for sharing, and from this state we can go to early publishing. So the document has went to this branch, early publishing, and the reason for early publishing is that you can expose the document clearly stating that it is not for constructional or contractual things. However, you still need for costing or tender. So the suitability codes have changed, and you must select the one that is appropriate for you. So for costing, for tender, for contractual design, manufacture, or procurement, let's select any of those. And of course, I have to save it. Now, in one button push, the document will go to published documentation. So it will be exposed to everyone. As you see, it crosses this line, and then it will be put back to work, so designers or engineers can continue work on the same document without any stops. Right, change state. Yes, wrong button, change state, early publishing. So some reminders, have you selected the status? So this one. So you see the document P02.1 and went to published documentation. So it is visible with D2 code, the one that we have selected, and in one go, the new physical file is created for the same document. It is pushed back to work in progress, and the revision and minor version is increased to from 1 to 2. Any questions, comments about the CD originated workflow? All right. I assume
I have
no.
one comment. Martinez,
yeah, sure.
I have one. Sorry, just one comment maybe for people on the call that are not computer-aided designers, which would be different to what they've been used to seeing in the MWH project-wise, is that each individual, each checker and approver will need to go into project-wise to carry out the actions that you've just seen. So that's the only comment. The functionality was fine. It's just knowing who is going to do certain things.
So Trevor, so in this case, do we need to assign the role holders for each of this action? So like,
Well,
so the author or the engineering checker and the reviewer has to be defined in the project-wise itself, so
yeah,
that they can perform their change state action.
Yes, what will happen, and I'm sure Martinez is going to go into it, and there's other days for other training this week, so Martinez will cover all of that for you. But yes, primarily when you fill out, in TwexNet now there is a project setup form, and when you request a setup, you're answering all the normal things that we would have normally answered with regard to the project, but now you have to say who are the members of the project team, what discipline are they, and what's their role? Are they a checker? Are they an approver? Are they an authorizer? That's all filled out in the form that Alison for us would be looking after, and there's Sam Burnage in Atkins, she would be looking after those. So yes, all that information has to be filled out, and then if new people come into the project or leave the project, the project administrators have to be told that as well, and those individuals will be added or removed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, the next step would be to cover the roles and access rights, but we will go into details on that. All right. If you'll see that you want to ask any questions, we still have the chat box. All right. Trevor, a question to you. Will there be any MWH users using CD imported workflow?
No. No, it's a bit of a bold statement, but I'm fairly sure not. No, the WIP will always be in Thames project-wise. Yeah.
All right. Then it makes no sense to cover those in this session.
No. Okay.
Okay. And so this data source has 3 workflows: CD originated, and the next one is CD imported, which we will not cover as MWH will not work with it. And the third one is CDI model, where you want to have, or you need to have, some federated models and
sorry, Martin, sorry, can I just...
Yes.
One comment. I mean, I maybe stated too quickly when I said we wouldn't. Suppliers for our projects will use CD imported. So for our own data, no, we won't use it. But if we've got a project administrator receiving data from 10 suppliers on a project, then their data would be imported.
Okay, we then can, yes, we can cover. Suppliers will be handled in the same approach as originating documents. So our originating documents would be created under our respective discipline. Suppliers will have their own folders there with the same subfolders. However, the workflow would be CD imported as opposed to CD originated. And as you may see, the only difference is that the same workflow begins from approved for sharing. While in CDE originator, the approved for sharing is the third state, work in progress and content check. In this one, it is the first one, because the work is happening outside of ProjectWise system. So the VIP state is outside of ProjectWise, and only approving is within ProjectWise. So proof for sharing, so you see it doesn't matter either it's text or any other document, the approach and the workflow would be the same. Alright, but I will import it and create it once more. So all the checks and everything is the same, title and scale and sheet size and revision information should be filled in before we continue. And from the first state, which is approved for sharing, we'll go to either shared or early publishing. Right, so the document is shared. It is available to other disciplines within the same project. See it here. And change state approve. Authorized for publication. And we need to change the suitability code. And approve. The document is published. As I have created this document basically by drag and dropping, which is not the correct approach of creating it, you see the authored and checked are empty ones, but they will be filled in using Excel import-export tool during the creation. But in essence, the workflow itself, the cycle is the same as in CD originated. The only thing is that WIP, so work in progress, and the content check is being done outside of ProjectWise system. All right, and for federated 3D federated eye models, you do have only two states here, and the states are shared or approved for sharing. So while the document is approved for sharing state, it is visible only within the same discipline. However, when the document goes into shared state, it is reachable by all the disciplines from the project. All right. Then let's talk about user roles and user accesses. Each and every user will be added to a user group, and I believe that will be done by a project administrator. And you can always check on which groups you are added by tools, options, and members of. And the way the system is configured is that you must be in a project group to have access to this project. So if you are not part of Project 1 group, you will not see the folder structure and you will not see the documents there. But if you are part of Project 1, you will see all the folders and documents there. Right. And further, we do change and limit things based on user roles. So each and every discipline will have several user roles. So for instance, architectural will have 3 roles, civil engineer will have 3 roles, and all other disciplines will have 3 roles. So that is a WIP role. So A WIP, C WIP, and so on, based on the code of the discipline. Other O WIP, E WIP, and for instance, I can go here and access control. Workflow C, A approver, A checker, A WIP. So A work in progress, architectural work in progress, architectural checker, and architectural approver. And authorizer is the same group for all disciplines. So authorizers we do not divide by disciplines. All other personnel is divided by disciplines and goes into one of those groups. So for instance, for 2D drawing, a document can be created by a WIP user, and then it goes to the next state, as we saw. However, checker or approver cannot do the move at that point. Once the document is moved to see content check, the WIP user has no access to it other than read access. So he cannot modify an attribute, he cannot modify a state, he cannot modify a physical document. The WIP user can modify only in WIP state. However, the checker at that state can modify the file if they wish, and they can modify the attributes, and they can change, and they must change the state. They are the only ones whose action is at that point. So the checker actually checks it and moves the document. So that probably is the answer to the question raised before, that yes, each and every user should be in particular user group. So the user can be in multiple groups. So if one user is a checker and approver, he should be in 2 groups, and he will have the combined access rights. And the checker goes to approve for checking, and if it is approved for checking, then it is approver's prerogative and responsibility to either approve a document or reject a document. And once the document is approved and goes into shared state, all the project team then gets access to that document. Before shared state, so for both things, for CD federated and imported, before the document reaches shared state, only discipline can view the documents. After the document reaches shared state, all the disciplines within the same project. So you have to be at least in the project group. So for project 1, it might be project 1 group. For project 2, it will most likely be project 2 group, and so on and so forth, just to identify that the same project name would hold the same project group. How would the administrators administer it later on, whether they will keep the naming in match or not, it's up to them. All right, and then once the document needs approval for publication, the either approver or administrator or project administrator, so most likely it will be approver, pushes the document out of shared to authorize for publication, and then authorizer, which is a general group for all the disciplines, moves the document to published documentation. And from this state, the document can be revised and goes back and starts the cycle once more. So each and every group have their rights and responsibilities and access to do their work in each and every state. And I believe that the states and documents and everything can be found under Administrator Guide here. So if you have missed or need to double check, so that is the same document on which I have talked. Any questions so far on user roles access? All right. Then we'll go on PDF printing. It is assumed that models will be printed on demand. However, drawings will be printed on the schedule. On demand is, so I would go here and choose a document which I like to print the PDF on the server. With right click on the document, then go to create renditions and press it. A new window has popped up with only one profile at the moment on demand model PDF, so it implies that you should select it on model. You're actually well, the system will allow you to do the same on the drawings, but you will not get the attributes. So select this one. There are no other selections other than presentation. So format, only one of one, PDF. The file name will be the same name dash draft, and the description destination is not choosable. So the only choosable option here is presentation. By default, it will try to push the document to A1 sheet and maximize it. You can change it. So A0 would push to A0 and then maximize it to A2 to A3. And scale 1 to 1 would try to get the automatic sheet size based on the drawing itself. So if it matches the units and scale, it could actually automatically select A4 if it is an A4 drawing. Right, and send email notification on completion. So it would send an email to yourself when the document either has, when the printing of the document is finished, either it was successful or unsuccessful, you will receive an email. And before I press it, just want to show you the Go tools and options. And here you can see on the general your description and email. So you can see it by yourself whether you have the correct email assigned to your name or if you have the email, because the email is not a mandatory field. Right click, create renditions, submit. This rendition job was submitted, email notification will be sent. So if you do not want to have the email notification, you have to remove the tick box. So that's for models. You should receive an email shortly. And for the drawings, you have to reach one of the states. And all right. minimize this document. And automatic PDF happens every 30 minutes for the documents that are shared and published states. So if the document is in one of the two major states, which is shared, the first state that is visible to all discipline, then the PDF will be printed, or the document is published. Right, so I have received an email from my CS admin. So this is like a system email. It says how long the job has took and who created, and here you see the input file or the output file. One or two, see -draft.pdf. If you click it here, you can go straight to that document. Right, and as you can see, all of the attributes have been copied. However, they are read-only because it is a rendition of the document, so the attributes comes together also as a read-only. Right. And for the drawings, let's do it. See, I get reminded. Yes, I'll go and change suitability code, and I will move that document to shared state. So once the document reaches the shared state, and then the job kicks in every 30 minutes. So the intention is that the document would stay there at least 30 minutes to be added to the queue and processed and automatically added to the PDF renditions. Right, so you see this one was the new one created few minutes ago, and PDF renditions will come after some time. Questions, remarks on the PDF creation?
I think just supporting the point you made, Martinez, is that the on-schedule PDF is new for everyone. They're used to producing them as required, but when a document is shared or published, they are automatically produced. But it is waiting that 30 minutes. Certainly during user acceptance testing, we had people that understandably that wanted to see it immediately, but the most you can wait is 30 minutes. But they did appear, so that's the main thing. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Yeah, in future, probably after some working, we could adjust this schedule based on your requirements. This just current selection is 30 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, for the moment, that's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and then each and every project we have introduced saved searches, and the project we'll have Safe Search global for every project. And I hope that you are aware of Safe Search's content. So it will list all the documents that are within Project 1 that are in early publishing state. In this case, published documentation state, shared documentation, and superseded published. Of course, each and every user, they can add their own personal saved searches, or they can request global searches to be created by project-wise administrators to them. And it is live, and they are different. For instance, for each and every project, see no documents, no documents, no documents, because we haven't added anything here. And for global, we do not have any saved searches, so only project related, because each and every project will have their own saved searches. All right, and I believe that is it for the quick overview of Project WISE setup for 8.2.0 at the moment. Is there anything else that you would see that I need to cover, Trevor?
No, I think based on the schedule that you've prepared with Kevin and what's being covered each day, I think you have covered everything that was scheduled for today, yes.
Yes. All right then, everyone. I can be available additional several minutes if you would think of any questions or if anything is not 100% clear at the moment. If not, then I wish you a good day.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Martinez, based on the list of people attending, some were part of our user acceptance testing, so they would be more familiar with what you've shown. There are others there that this will have been probably the first time they've seen it, so they may have more questions. But maybe to support what's been shown, the configuration and the workflow and the rules that have been applied there conform to BS1192. So probably most people on that list of attendees are familiar with BS1192 and what it wants you to do and how it wants you to do it. So there's the BS1192 and PAS 1192 documents, part 2, list all of those status codes and the WIP shared and published and early publishing. All of that comes from the BS. So I don't know if anyone does have any questions on that, but there are other sessions to come. There are, as Martin has pointed out, there is a user guide inside Thames Water's Project WISE, and that goes through a lot of the information as well that you've seen today.
Yes,
So
that's a user guide.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Martinez. It was just I'll leave others to see if they've got any questions. It's more important from them than from me, really. All
right. So, as mentioned, there's administrator guide and this one, this document. So this outlines all of the states and the security. Everything is in text. So if you have, if you were not 100% clear, you can go back to that document to refresh your memory on whose responsibility of doing what and what happens when you press a button in each and every state. All right then that's it from my side at the moment.
Okay, thanks, Martinez.
Thank you. I'll stop the recording now.